out here. I have no idea what this lake is, but I just pulled around the corner and I saw like 4 or 5 bald eagles flying around. There's got to be more than 5 bald eagles. There must be like a dozen. And there's also looks like a bunch of hawks or ospreys or something. But they're literally just flying all over the place. Like, so crazy. I don't know if you guys can see that, but I did take another video. But anyways, we are on our way to Kamloops, and welcome back. This is another episode of Life with Spiike. My name is Steve, and hope you guys enjoy this video. But yeah, they're just littered. They're just like 1, 2, and there's like 4 or 5 in the sky. There's some down there on the tree. There's some down there on the lake. There's some down on the branches. Oh my goodness, just crazy. I wish I had a telescopic camera so that I could take some close shots of them. It's just absolutely cool. Alright, let's head down the road and see what else we can find. Hey guys, welcome back. So we're just here at Vernon, just outside anyways. We're gonna go do some chores. We're gonna get some stuff done. Do a few errands, get ready for the kids because, surprise, they're gonna be here in like 2 days. So I'm just gonna get ready. We're gonna prepare for them to be here. I'm gonna have them for 2.5 weeks, so expect a 2.5 break in between episodes. But once I'm done hanging out with the kids, I will be back on the road because I'll be taking them up north to Grand Prairie, and I will be staying up in Grand Prairie for a while. And we're going to go explore Alberta for a little bit, and then we'll probably go over to BC for a little while and explore British Columbia. And we'll probably go see my dad as well up in Fort St. John, maybe have dinner with him or something, maybe have coffee. I don't know, we'll see. Got a few little updates to go on the van as well. I'm probably going to fix those back covers, those window covers. I'm going to put a few more magnets in there so they stop falling down. I also noticed that they're not very thermal insulated, so we're going to probably insulate them this spring break with Reflectix, because right now inside those I have Insul fleece, which is what they use in gloves for ovens and stuff. So it might work good for a sleeping bag, but it's not going to work good for the heat. So we're going to have to figure that out. Might tear them apart, might remake them, might rebuild them. Who knows? I guess we'll see. Figure out a way that we can get that to work. But those are definitely upgrades that I need. I need front window covers as well. I got the cooler and the freezer up there, and if it's going to be plus 30, 35 degrees outside in the summer, then we're going to need a way to protect the freezer and the cooler from those harsh heats. Because I don't have an air conditioner on the roof of my van. So that's going to be an interesting thing to figure out this summer in my new Vanlife experience. I've noticed that there's been overwhelming feedback of my last video of the do solar panels work when they're flat mounted, and is 400 watts enough? Yeah, it's totally enough. But you've also got to realize I have a freezer that uses 3 to 4 amps of power on 12 volt, and I have a fridge that uses 3 to 4 amps on 12 volt as well. And they're 50% cycle duty or something like that. So they don't run full time like those thermal electric coolers. These are compressors. So they're high efficient. Well, they're not super efficient, but they're high efficient fridge and freezer. So they don't use a heck of a lot of power. I don't know the exact specifications because it also depends on the heat of the day and on all those things as well. So, but they don't use a heck of a lot of power. I would say between 30 and 50 amp hour of one of my batteries. So I would say between 400 and 600 watt hours these guys use per day. but that is also being supplemented by those solar panels. And I've also got a 60 amp DC to DC Renogy charger underneath my bed. Now, I'm going to have to make a switch in the front to switch it to 30 amps for those times that my batteries are really low. If they're really low and I stop at a red light, my voltage drops really bad. So that's going to be something that I'm going to have to figure out in the future. I'm going to be looking at a second alternator, and I'm going to have that installed in my van, and all the wiring all configured correctly so that I can comfortably charge 60 amps back here at idle and turn around and pull out a winch and recover myself if I've, for some odd reason, get myself into a sticky situation I need to get myself out of. Now, that being said, I could probably just flick the 30 amp switch, limit this down to 30 amps from 60, do my winching, and then once I'm out of my emergency situation that I need to get out of, I can disable the 30 amp switch, go to full 60 amps while my engine's high RPM so that it doesn't struggle and put a strain on that alternator or the battery itself, because the battery is not supposed to drop to 12 volts. It's always supposed to stay. Now, I do have a voltage sense relay that disables DC to DC charger. So if it drops down to 12.8 volts, it cuts off charging to the back. But when you're sitting at idle and the voltage goes up and down and up and down, you can hear it audibly click on and off every 5 seconds with the voltage jumping up and down from 12.8 to 14 to 12.8 to 14. So it kind of just sits there and bounces when it's sitting at idle. So that's something that I'm going to have to look into. Well, I've already looked into it. I know how to solve it. It's getting an alternator bracket, which I found on eBay and Amazon for like roughly $200. But I have a local company here looking into it. So maybe they can get me a quote. If they can't, I'm going to ask them if I can order the bracket online and have them install the bracket for me so that I know it's wired and correctly done and works properly. And if there's any problems with it, I can pull an alternator out, replace it myself, and everything's good to go. So that being said, that's my fridge and freezer space. I do have a compartment up here full of USB plugins that I can charge all my phones, GoPros, drones, everything that I need that's USB powered can be charged in this little compartment here. That being said, I've got a 400 watt Pure Sine Wise. I think it's a Belkin. The name brand it's just a cheap $60 inverter, but it's just enough to power my monitor and my 120 watt laptop. Now, I do have Starlink. It is set up and ready to go, but I have it on pause right now. So once in a couple weeks, when I'm done with the kids, I will enable Starlinks so that when I actually do go further into the bush on those dirt roads that don't have any snow on them and they're not covered in snow, then I'll have a way to communicate in emergencies. Well, I shouldn't say that. I should say that I have a way to communicate when I'm off grid, way out in the bush with no cell service. That being said, I do need to invest in a satellite texting emergency service so that if there's any emergency situations and I don't have access to the sky to set up Starlink, then I have a way to contact somebody in an emergency. So I'll have to look into that in the future. Now, I didn't really talk about the batteries in the last video where do solar panels have enough power, but I have 6 HEM deep cycle batteries that hold 93 amp hours each, for a total of 558 amp hours of power, 6,696 watt hour of power. So for those of you geeks out there that wanted to know that information, there you go. So I just about have 6,700 watt hour of power stored in this van ready to go. Now, like I said before, the fridge and freezer can take 600, 700 per day. So I've got at least 10 hours, I have 10 days of power to run the fridge and the freezer without running out of electricity, without using any lights or having any solar power charging. So that being said, I could run without solar power for 3 or 4 days in the bush without turning on the engine to charge the batteries or anything like that, without running any battery, which is awesome. And I get about 800 on some of the worst days, and I've been getting upwards of 1.26 kilowatts of power. And there's been instances where I'm not getting very much power, but now that the sun's out, I'm getting tons and tons of power. And you can see that blue line at the top there, that means it's going into float mode. And these other blue lines here means absorption. So these white lines are the hard bulk. So that's where your big charging comes from, is that bulk absorption or bulk charging. So that's when the batteries get its most oomph, and then the absorption's when it's actually finally creeping up to the top, and then it goes into float mode when it's fully charged, which it has done a couple times. Now I've been driving, almost an hour or more than an hour per day. So it's kind of like not a real world experience of whether or not I'm going to be relying only on solar power. But you can trust that when I put another 200 watt solar panel on the roof, that this will be completely enough power to run everything I ever need and not have to worry about running the engine to provide enough power on those rainy days, because I'll have a generator in the trailer. So if there's a week off grid that I have no sun, I can pull out the generator and charge it with a 25 amp DC charger that's underneath the bed as well. And I've got a port up the side as well. And maybe an hour or two per day in the rain should supply enough energy that to keep everything in the van running, including a little bit of laptop, internet, Starlink, and etc. And that being said, I've never dipped below 88%. It's a little bit hard to see, but yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. It's kind of just a talking head point, but I wanted to touch base on my electrical usage, my battery storage, and have a little update on what I'm doing the next few weeks. If you guys don't see me uploading any videos, I'll be busy with my kids and doing some chores, some errands. So I miss you guys. I will see you guys in a couple weeks when we are ready to hit the road again, when we're ready to do more off-grid van life exploration and off-grid living and being nomadic, etc., etc. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching, guys. See you guys next time. Peace out.